In the quiet village of Umyokoro, where the harmattan wind whispered secrets through the palms, lived a young woman named Adanna. Her name meant father's daughter, but she was no mere child of her father's house. She was a woman of sharp mind and a heart woven with both courage and curiosity. She had recently married Chibuzo, a man from the neighboring village, whose charm and laughter had stirred many hearts. Yet, as the days passed, a shadow grew in Adanna's heart, a whisper of doubt that gnawed at her peace. Chibuzo was a good husband, so it seemed. He brought yams from the farm, he sang songs under the moon, and his hands were steady and kind. But whispers traveled faster than the river current. Some women in the market, hidden behind their colorful wrappers, hinted at secret meetings and stolen glances. Adanna's world tilted on a fragile hinge. She could confront him, demand truth with tears and anger, but her pride and her love held her back. Instead, she chose a path few dared to tread. She decided to feign blindness. To cloak her eyes in darkness, not because she had lost sight, but to see the truth hidden beneath shadows. The morning Adanna told Chibuzo she could no longer see, the air in their small mud-walled home thickened. She had practiced her limb gaze and slow steps. Her hands trembled slightly as she reached for the calabash of water, missing it by a breath. Chibuzo's eyes widened in shock. "Adanna, what has happened?" he asked, fear lacing his voice. "I do not know," she replied softly, avoiding his gaze. It came suddenly, like nightfall. Chibuzo was gentle, guiding her with a hand firm yet tender. He promised to take her to the healer in the village. But as days turned to weeks, the healer could find no cure. And Adanna's act grew more convincing. She learned to navigate the household by memory, to touch and listen with the precision of a night bird. The villagers watched, some with pity, others with suspicion. But none could guess the truth, that Adanna's blindness was a mask, a test. One evening, while Chibuzo was away at the market, a visitor came, a woman wrapped in scarlet cloth, with eyes like sharp knives and a smile that spoke of secrets. She called Adanna's name softly through the door. Adanna did not respond. The woman left a small package on the threshold, inside, a bundle of letters tied with red string. Letters written by Chibuzo, not to her, but to another woman, words of longing and promises. The truth settled over Adanna like the harmattan dust, thick and choking. The next day, Adanna remained blind. She confronted Chibuzo not with anger, but with silence, her gaze empty yet full of knowledge. She watched him stumble under the weight of his own guilt. But then something unexpected happened. In the days that followed, Chibuzo's visits to the market decreased. Instead, he spent long hours by her side, reading aloud, singing, sharing stories of their future, stories that seemed to grow more vivid and sincere. His love, once clouded by shadows, began to shine in the light of her silent test. Would Adanna forgive him? Could love born of lies bloom into truth? The eyes that seemed closed were watching, waiting for a heart brave enough to reveal itself. Days passed in a slow rhythm, each one a test in itself. Adanna moved through the village as if shrouded in night, her world narrowed to sound, touch, and the gentle voices around her. Yet, her mind saw more than ever. Chibuzo had changed. The man who once slipped between shadows now sat openly in the sunlight of their small compound. He carried her water, sang softly as he worked, and his hands, once restless, now rested calmly in hers. But trust was a delicate seed, easily crushed beneath the weight of doubt. One evening, as the sky bled shades of orange and purple, Chibuzo sat beside her, a bowl of roasted yam steaming between them. His voice trembled as he spoke. "Adanna, I have wronged you. The letters you found, they were a mistake, a weakness I cannot undo. But my heart is yours." She listened quietly. Though she could not see his eyes, she felt the tremor in his words, the rawness of regret. "How can I believe?" Her voice was barely a whisper, carried on the warm breeze that ruffled the palm fronds. Chibuzo bowed his head. "By actions, not words. Let me show you." The next morning, as the village awoke with the crowing of roosters and the laughter of children, Chibuzo went to work with a new purpose. He tended their fields with tireless care, returning each evening to share the harvest fruits with Adanna. No more secret visits, no hidden conversations, only the open honesty of a man determined to heal. But the village was a place of watchers. Word spread, some in disbelief, others in hope. The elder woman whispered behind woven baskets, telling stories of wives who tested their husbands in silence, and the strength it took to forgive. One night, under a moon hung like a silver drum, Adanna sat outside their hut. The air was thick with the scent of earth and fire. Suddenly, a gentle hand brushed her shoulder. "Adanna, it is time," Chibuzo said softly. "Time for what?" she asked, suspicion flickering in her voice. "To see again. The healer believes your eyes can be restored, not through magic, but through trust and healing of the heart." Adanna's breath caught. Could she face the world with open eyes again? Could she forgive not just him, but herself for doubting? With trembling fingers, Chibuzo reached for hers and led her inside. The healer came, chanting softly, applying herbal poultices, weaving prayers into the night air. Days passed. Slowly, the veil lifted. Colors returned, golden sunlight, deep green leaves, the crimson of ripe tomatoes. The world bloomed before Adanna's eyes, sharper and brighter than ever. But what caught her gaze most was Chibuzo, his eyes steady and true, full of a love that had been tested in the darkness. At the next village gathering, Adanna stood beside her husband, her eyes shining with quiet strength. The village elder approached, his voice rich and warm. "You have taught us all, Adanna, that sometimes, blindness is not the loss of sight, but the opening of the soul." Chibuzo nodded, holding her hand. "And that love, once true, can see beyond any shadow." The crowd erupted in applause, but Adanna only smiled. For she knew the truth deeper than any words, that faith and forgiveness are the greatest vision of all.